Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So before I start today's video, I just want to reintroduce myself for those of you who are new. So my name is Jocelyn and I live in Tokyo, Japan, and I make videos and do blog posts on my blog, My Motherhood Tokyo, just talking about pregnancy in Japan as well as preparing to become a mom in a foreign country. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever I post new content. I would love to have you. All right, so let's get started. So today I wanted to do a quick little review on the crib that I bought in Japan. And this is a Japanese crib, which is why I wanted to review it. And when I was thinking about choosing a crib, I asked so many people for their recommendations and I got so many great answers. Many people suggested co-sleeping in the bed with you. Many people suggested a bassinet or a pack and play, or maybe just an IKEA crib. Those were some of the main suggestions. I thought those were all really positive suggestions, but I had one tiny problem with many of them, and that's the fact that I am super tall. I am about 6'1" or 183 centimeters tall. And the majority of those cribs, when I went to look at them, were so short for me. Like I'm telling you guys, they came up to probably the middle of my thigh. And when I thought about getting up in the middle of the night and picking up my baby and putting them back and forth in the crib for, multiple times a day, I really just could not see myself using a crib that was so low to the ground. So I was really searching for something that was a little bit taller. And I was able to find it, thankfully, in Japan. And this crib is called the Sleepy, and I'll link it below. And I would have never found this crib without the help of my husband, who thankfully can speak Japanese, because it was a little bit tricky to find. But now that I found it, I recommend it to everyone, which is why I wanted to do this review. So the main reason that I chose this crib is for the height. So this crib is 102 centimeters, about 102 centimeters, from the floor to the top of the crib. And for reference, I believe the IKEA Snigler crib, which is a very popular model, is only 80 centimeters from the floor to the top of the crib. So it is quite a big difference, that 20 centimeters. And you have to remember that where the baby actually sleeps, that platform, is a good 20 or 30 centimeters lower than the top of the crib. So if I was going to be picking up a baby out of a crib that was only 80 centimeters tall, I would literally be bending almost all the way over to pick up that baby. And I just could not see myself doing that as a brand new mom. So this crib is 102 centimeters at the top of the crib, and then where the baby sleeps on that platform, it's about 72 centimeters or so with the mattress on there. So at 102 centimeters, it comes to about my hip, and then the platform is actually about the middle of my thigh, maybe. So it's much higher than all the cribs that I found. Even cribs that were made in the US, they tended to be about the same height as the IKEA Snigler I found. So one thing I will say about the height of the crib is that although it is perfect for me because I am quite tall, if you are significantly shorter than I am, this might not be the right crib for you. And that is only because if you are planning to not use the drop down sides like I am, and I'll show you a little bit more in a video clip in a second, then I'm not sure you would be able to bend over and pick up your baby out of the crib because it is quite high. So that's just one thing to think about. This crib is definitely made for taller people unless you want to use the drop down sides, which I know there's a lot of controversy about it. In Japan, most cribs have drop-down sides. It's really not seen as a big deal, but I know that no cribs in the US are made with drop-down sides anymore. So you just want to keep that in mind if you're considering this crib. And the one other thing that I love about this crib is that although it is a full-size crib, it is 70 centimeters by 120 centimeters, I believe, which is full standard Japanese size. It is actually collapsible, so the crib, you can lift up the mattress platform and then the crib will fold together so that it can stand up by itself in a very narrow space, which is really useful because you can move it to a different room or store it if you're not using it anymore, and it doesn't take up so much space. And you also don't have to completely dismantle it, so that's really nice for me. And secondly, there are wheels on the crib, so you can actually just roll it to a new room if you want. You don't have to, like I said, fully dismantle it to move it to a new room, which is really convenient because at some point when our baby is a little bit older, we are going to move the crib to the second bedroom. And I'll talk a little bit more later about our sleeping arrangements in our small Japanese apartment. Okay, so now that I've talked about what I like about the crib, I just want to show you what it looks like in our apartment. Okay, so this is the crib that we bought. It is a standard Japanese size, so it's 90 by 120 centimeters. And as you can see here, it actually is collapsible, so that's what that hinge is for. And it is technically a drop-down crib. As you can see here, there is a little latch so you can drop it down, but I've turned that side toward the wall because I'm not going to be using it as a drop-down crib. And it does have wheels on it, so that's really nice. You can move it from room to room. Let me just back up a bit more. So yeah, that's the crib. All right, so that's the crib. And I just want to reiterate one more time that this crib does have drop-down sides, which is why I think it can be so tall. So if you are not as tall as I am, or actually if you are significantly shorter than I am, this might not be the crib for you if you are concerned about the drop-down sides. So like I said in the video, I am not going to be using the drop-down sides. I've actually faced them toward the wall. So just be aware of that when you're thinking about purchasing this crib, is that it does have drop-down sides, and it is quite tall. So again, if you are not as tall as I am or you're significantly shorter, this might not be the best crib for you. But if you are tall, I would definitely recommend it. So I think that's about it for my crib review. All right, so lastly, I just want to talk quickly about our sleeping arrangements, or at least how we plan to sleep with our baby once he comes. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about this because it can be quite controversial, and people have a lot of opinions about how you should sleep with your baby, but honestly, I want to be open on this channel, and if you don't agree with me, that's totally fine. Not everyone has the same opinion, so I just want to share what I'm doing in case it's something that you would also want to do. So we do have the crib in our bedroom next to the bed. And the reason that we went with a crib and not a bassinet is simply because once the baby grows out of a bassinet, we really don't have space to store something like that in our small apartment. So we probably would have gone with a bassinet if we had space to store it, but unfortunately we don't, so we have the crib. And we are using a DockATot in the crib because I've heard from so many people that it really, really helps with infant sleep. And especially in that big crib, you don't want that tiny, tiny baby to be in that huge crib. So I think the DockATot will hopefully help him feel a little bit more secure. And at least that's what I'm hoping. Of course, the best laid plans can quickly blow up in your face. So this is what I'm hoping before the baby comes. And also the reason that we decided against co-sleeping in the bed with us is simply because our bed is not very large. We only have a double-sized bed, and honestly it barely fits me and my husband. And if we had a queen or a king size, then maybe we would have considered it. But I think for just our child's safety, having a crib in the bedroom with the DockATot was going to be the best option for us. So that's what we're doing. And hopefully it works out, but I'll definitely talk more about that after the baby is born, once I've kind of used all of these things that I've bought for the baby. I can give a more honest opinion about how those things have worked for us. All right, so that's about it for this video. If you have any questions or comments about cribs in Japan or otherwise, please leave them below. I would love to hear from you. And I hope this helped someone who's trying to decide what type of crib to buy in Japan. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.